Figures in the media on both the left and the right were nearly giddy, fawning in their praise for Donald Trump's performance last night. If you didn't see it, that performance was his ability to read a script without saying the words fake news or mocking a disabled reporter. To be fair, he also didn't grab a woman's crotch, but he usually tried to hide that anyway. He did, however, get through a speech that was given to him without saying anything that was on its face absurd. And so as a result of that, lots of really good reactions to it. In fact, we've got polls. 57% who tuned into the speech said they had a very positive reaction to it. Nearly 7 in 10 said that his proposed policies would move the country in the right direction, even if those policies were vague or based on inaccurate facts. 7 in 10 said the speech made them feel more optimistic about the direction of the country, which long-term is probably exactly what he wants. And then there was the particular pundits. So that's the people. We've got the pundits too. Let's bring up this tweet here. You're going to see there Gayle King saying he said from the beginning he was going to speak from his heart, and I certainly think he did that.
Okay, I got to pause there.
Okay.
See, no. That I'm not going to allow. So I actually thought he performed well, partly based on the fact that he read the prompter better than he normally does. When he does read the prompter normally, he's very clunky, like, and they tell me that I'm supposed to say, right? And he didn't do that this time, and he read it fine, and he didn't
move his finger on the script like he does sometimes.
Yeah, and he didn't ramble with his, well, we're going to be winning bigly stuff. So, okay.
Yeah.
But more importantly than that, I actually think it was a populist message, and I think substantively, of course, I disagree with 80% of it, but there's a solid 20% I actually agreed with. But rhetorically and politically, I thought he did a good job, and I said that immediately after the speech, and I think the numbers of people's reaction to it bear that out. You got to separate those two things.
Of course.
Is it true, and did it work? And I thought it worked, and it turns out it did.
Yeah.
But on Gayle King, no, I'm not going to allow that. Because
Speaking from the heart.
look, that's the talking point that they gave all the anchors before the speech. This is, by the way, every president does it, every administration does it, okay? So the president tonight will speak from the heart. And I was flipping through the channels, and every anchor on every channel dutifully read the talking point given to them by the White House. Tonight he will speak from the heart. Don't read that. What does that mean, speak from the heart? That doesn't mean anything. He didn't even write the speech, and you know that. You know that there's a speechwriter. By the way, yeah, Obama had a speechwriter, Bush, Reagan, they all have speechwriters. But you know he's not speaking from the heart. That doesn't mean anything. And then for you to then come back after the speech and go, you know what? That talking point they gave was about him speaking from the heart. It was true. How would you know? How do you even know what's in his heart? It's a preposterous thing to say. See, that's the mainstream media being the old, super crappy mainstream media.
Yeah, exactly. The fawning, sort of shiver up the leg mainstream media.
Yes.
But of course that sort of speech is going to be popular. This is how you had the rise of political movements like in Italy and in Germany. You combine faux populism that will not actually deliver on its promises, but harkens back to a better economic time of the past, back in the golden ages, and you combine that with a healthy dose of we've got the xenophobic view of outsiders, and the people coming in are stealing our culture. You combine those three things, and people will support you. That's what humans are. We are monkeys, and we want people who are going to protect us and tell us things are going to be better like they always were in the past, even if they weren't that great in the past. So some more pundits. Chris Wallace, who's been okay at times on Trump, but not always, saying, I thought it was by far the best speech I've ever heard Donald Trump give. It was one of the best speeches in that setting I've ever heard any president give.
No, come on,
Those are different
Chris.
statements.
It
might be the best speech Donald Trump has given.
No, the first sentence I totally agree with. That's exactly what I said last night. But remember, that's a low bar.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The second sentence is preposterous.
Yeah.
One of the best speeches given by a president to a joint session of Congress? Come on, Chris. Even you don't believe that. First of all, every Obama speech, every Clinton speech, and you know whether you're a Democrat or Republican, they're great orators, but also every Reagan speech, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. All three of those guys knocked it out of the park with speeches, and Trump is still reading the prompter. You can see it, right? I mean, he's gotten better with it, and it's still full of demagoguery and yada, yada, and it's still clunky. It's the best he's ever given, but don't compare it to, and I'm no Reagan fan, but don't compare it to Reagan or Obama or Clinton.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why I don't have the polling results here, but they also compared the reception amongst the public to the first speeches given by past presidents. And Trump did very well, but it wasn't rated as well as Obama's first big speech to his joint address and all that, or George H.W. Bush as well. I don't remember the numbers for Clinton. So it was well received, but let's not go insane here, okay? Kirsten Powers said, best speech he's ever given. Powerful, effective, inspiring at times. Presidential. That's more justifiable than Chris Wallace's statement.
I think
or
that's
Gayle
totally
King's.
true. And let's go back to that for one quick second, because as I was tweeting all night, I kept thinking that Capitol looks unfortunate. If you look at it real quick, it looks like another emoji. Okay, anyway, let's move forward.
I don't actually know which emoji you're talking
No,
about.
like if you look at it super quick, I actually think it looks like the poop emoji.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
That would be appropriate. That's not presidential of you, Cenk.
No, that's right.
Okay, Rachel Maddow, I liked her. This is a balanced approach. She said this will be a very well-received speech for Donald Trump. I think it's fair to say it's a product of expectations that he's not seen as somebody who necessarily gives a good formal speech. It will be a notable thing that the president spent a big portion of what was an effective State of the Union telling the country what vicious, murdering criminals immigrants are.
Yes.
And that is very accurate there by Rachel Maddow.
Right. Podcast The Young Turks anytime you want. tytnetwork.com/join.
I think it's weird.
No, it's not weird. In fact, you'll think,
I'm like a smart person.
do it now. tytnetwork.com/join.